Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our show. We're coming to you live on tape from the Sandwich Studio in Oceanside, California. It's the 14th of January, 2021. Our main story tonight: the incoming Biden administration's cabinet, White House staffers, and the plans for the first 100 days. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And now, without further ado, the hosts of the PB&J podcast.
Hi, and welcome to episode 12 of the PB&J podcast. You know my name is Brandon Blackman.
And you know my name is Peter Whitehead. As promised, in the last show, we are going to be looking at our comment section. We only got one question this time. The question was from Hannah O'Brien,
Shout out.
the true fan of the show. She asked, "I'm actually curious what political labels you both personally use. Like, if you consider yourselves establishment Dems, leftists, Dem socialists, just Democrats, etc." Brandon, you want to start off with that one? You want to answer that?
Yeah, that's fine. So I don't consider myself a liberal. I consider myself a leftist. I am a pretty radical person. I do believe that some of the solutions that we've been offered aren't enough. So you could call that progressive, or you could say they are revolutionary left. Um, there are a lot of ideas that inspire me from Marx and Lenin. So there are people who call themselves Marxist Leninists. There's that idea is kind of controversial, so it's kind of hard to say that out loud. But there are a lot of people who do subscribe to those ideas, and I am one of them. So
That's a good answer.
yeah, I could go into more detail, but
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty concise. I think this is a pretty complicated question. So I have like an ideal that I try to live up to, and that ideal is largely leftist. It's progressive. I want like Medicare for all, and free education. Uh, Universal basic income. Those kinds of things. Those are like progressive ideals.
yeah,
However, I'm what a history major would call a capitulating compromiser. So I'm willing to give everything up if it means I get one thing done.
yeah,
And I'm a moderate in that way. If you guys watched, the shows that we did prior to the presidential election, I was gunning hard for Biden. I don't like Biden as a candidate. Like, I don't like a lot of his policies. However, he was infinitely better than the other option, and I'm almost always going to choose the lesser of two evils in that setting. I'm not Geralt of Rivia. I don't get to just walk away, especially since you guys watch this show for me to have an opinion. So yeah, I would say ideally I'm progressive left. In reality, though, in practice, probably more of a moderate.
yeah. And I mean, there's really a big spectrum of the left, and it's hard to capture that, especially when things are kind of controlled by the mainstream narrative.
Definitely.
And I would consider stuff like Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, like those are central planning, top down,
Uh huh.
you know,
Socialist policies.
socialist
Yeah.
control of the economy
Socialist. Yeah.
policies. And there are ways to kind of edit them to make them more liberal, make them more free market minded. So I feel like we really need to define the difference between like someone who is a full socialist and someone who is just open to those ideas and someone who is truly keeping the status quo.
Yeah.
Because there's me who's a liberal and there's you who's a liberal, right?
Right. And neither of us like want the status quo, but we're very different in the
Our
methods
ways of
that like
addressing
we
it.
would approach to solving the problem, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I mean in a political science class, in a political science class, they say that there's like, you know, the way you think about ideas and then the way that you approach the problems. And those I think those two things like I think very progressively.
Yeah.
I want very progressive ideas, but the way I approach it is much more a like slow congressional democratic, like the slow chug of what that is.
And I definitely still agree with you. It would be like someone saying that we need a Marxist Leninist workers' revolution in the United States right now.
Yeah.
Like that's purely unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Not in our lifetimes. It's just we don't have the circumstances for it. Like it's just not realistic. We need to do incrementalist, one by one, getting our agenda done like slowly. And like you could call like I'm sure like our furthest left friends would hate on me for that. Like our furthest left friends hate on Bernie for that.
Yeah.
So if I could call myself anything, I would definitely just say I'm a Bernie-crat for now. But my ideas
Birdie Crat, yeah.
are
that's a good
very
one.
far left.
I also want to ask the boys behind the camera this question.
Got the
start
Jacks?
with Jack Tarman. Go ahead, Jack Tarman. It seems like you're jumping at the gun there.
Yeah, so I like what you guys are talking about, the differences between socialists and the differences between people on the left, because I consider myself a market socialist. A lot of readings that have inspired me actually come from Peter Kropotkin, who is this Russian guy. He's a bit of an anarchist, but he's also got some socialist readings as well. The Conquest of Bread is a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and he differs from Marx because he says the problem with extorting the workers isn't necessarily the surplus value of what they're making, that they're not getting enough. It's the whole idea that they could be extorted in the first place. So he gets into like democracy in the workplace and all that good stuff, getting rid of like the final ties of feudalism in our society, which I'm a big fan of.
Okay, so you would say market socialist. That's what you would say if someone like asked you that directly.
Yep, market socialist.
And would you
That's
say
way more concise than what me and Brandon just said?
Yeah. No, I would definitely put myself under that label as well. But would you say that market socialism is built more for economic answers or political answers?
Well, it's inherently political, right? Because we're talking about the sort of dealings that go on between
Butter and bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I would say it is definitely more market leaning, but not necessarily in the terms of like, oh, liberation of, the proletariat, right? It's more just like, hey, we did a good job with democracy and politics. Let's try to usher that into the way we do our jobs as well.
And that was my question about market socialism, because I'm sure a lot of our watchers maybe haven't even heard these terms before. So how far does someone go into socialism before it fully becomes something like Stalin, like these keywords that kind of scare us,
Yeah, so and that's the big difference between a market socialist and the state socialist, right? Because a state socialist would be largely like Marxist Leninists and Stalinists and stuff like that. Market socialists say that form of socialism is outdated. That the state controls the means of production. That doesn't work. It's in the past.
Or it's just as immoral in some cases.
Exactly. And so they're saying, well, we can't go that route because that didn't work out very well. So let's try it without the state involved. Let's just try to have the markets determine this, and then we just kind of set some guidelines of like, hey, you guys need to pay attention to your workers more often. So
yeah. Jack Tunney?
To keep it very concise, I don't believe in politics. I think that puts a nice little bow.
This
at the
man
end of
doesn't
this,
believe in
end
politics.
of this question.
As you can see, we're a diverse podcast. Hey, how many people don't vote? 25% of the country doesn't care about politics.
More than that.
That's true.
25%. Also, he cares.
Yeah.
No, you're not. I don't know how much you care, but you are one of those people who is just a generally good-hearted person, and you don't like seeing bad things happen to good people, and you don't like seeing the government perpetrate those bad things, right?
Yeah, it's just something about human nature.
Yeah. And honestly, that's probably more. No, but for real though, that's more relatable than anything we just said. We just talked about market socialism and
super
theory,
relatable, but, oh
and
my
Peter
God.
Copernica. Tunney just comes out with I just want to see good
It's a
things.
human condition.
Yeah, for real. I feel that.
Thank you, Jack Tunney. Thank you, Jack Tarman, too. Those were both enlightening answers. And thank you,
HOB.
Hannah O'Brien,
HOB.
for being our number one fan and
I just
giving
came
us
up
questions. Give us another one. We'll dive deep into the metaphysics, philosophical, whatever that we do. But now let's do first bite. Brandon, how you feel about that?
I am pretty excited for the first bite. We get to close up one of the worst weeks in American history.
Yeah, and we also get to close up the Trump administration,
Hey!
which is nice because by the time we are recording another podcast, Donald J. Trump will no longer be president.
Fucking go.
So this is our last podcast
So
with
serious.
Donald Trump
Donald
as
Pump.
president. So we're just gonna update you guys kind of on the so-called Trump insurrection. The first thing that I want to talk about is that there are more deaths now. When we talked about it last week, there was only one death. It was the woman who was shot by the Secret Service in the Capitol. But now there are 5 recorded deaths. 3 of the deaths come from medical complications, as the New York Times reported. That's things like heart attacks, strokes. Don't laugh at that, Brandon. Shit.
I didn't. I'm smiling.
Continue.
Uh, again, one of the deaths was the Air Force veteran who was shot that we reported last week, and then the last death was a Capitol Police officer who was beaten by rioters and died the next day. And there was actually another death connected to, but not directly related to, a Capitol Police officer um, uh, killed himself following the events of January 6th. It's really dark stuff that happened.
Imagine you're running to go, burn down the Capitol or whatever, and then you die from a heart attack because you've been eating McDonald's every day.
Are you gonna make that joke?
No, I'm just saying that isn't that nuts? What are the circumstances of our country where people are dying of medical complications?
As they storm.
Because it wasn't like, Black Lives Matter, you got the youth out there. We got 60 and 70-year-old people in wheelchairs, we got the boomers.
Yeah.
They should not be doing that. Come on, guys.
Well, your guys' time for political revolution is past. No offense, but I think all death is a terrible atrocity. Especially when it's unnecessary. Like, I think all of these deaths were unnecessary.
And when you see that there's COVID out there, people not wearing masks, people knowingly going there after testing positive.
Yeah, no, it's just a huge bummer.
It's like
they're like you hate to see it. You just hate to see
I just hate to see it. Yeah, that's it's I sympathize. I have jokes. I have hate. I have sadness.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to see it.
I didn't want to see it. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
So yeah, we'll just move on to arrests. 70 people now have been charged as of today. That could be different by the time this is posted, but as of today, 70 people have been charged. 170 case files have been opened in the investigation. Among notable arrests so far, the Q shaman, who's the better known as Buffalo guy.
Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, the Buffalo guy.
Oh boy.
So these guys are going to do hard time. And it has to do with like Trump's own executive order on national monuments and things.
Yeah.
So look forward to those like trials and things.
Yeah, I need some updates for that.
Other updates, when we were talking about it last week, Twitter had banned President Trump.
On that Thursday.
Yeah, on that Thursday.
So it was.
But now, Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, Amazon Web Services, Snapchat, Pinterest, and Twitch have Spotify have all enacted some form of ban on the president, most until at least after Inauguration Day, some forever.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way to defeat a fascist. I was talking to Jack Tarman about this a couple days ago. The way you defeat a fascist is make sure he can't reach people. And that's what these social media companies are doing. I mean, you could talk about freedom of speech. You could talk about, expression or whatever. He's inciting violence. We witnessed it. Like, we got to silence him, right, Jack Tarman?
Yeah, exactly. I am a firm believer in freedom of speech, but only if the speech that is being provided isn't directly harmful towards others. And this is exactly what this is.
The Constitution agrees with you.
Yep.
Right. The First Amendment says you can say whatever you want as long as it's not a direct threat of violence. You're not libeling someone, lying about someone, right? Or slandering someone. Libel is there's a difference between the two. But libel is like written, slander is spoken, or the other way. So like they give you certain things you cannot do, and one of the things written in fucking red text that you can't do is incite violence.
Yeah.
So
the difference is libel is for celebrities and known people.
Yeah, you'd have to write it and then
be malicious about it.
Yeah.
So it's libel.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fun. He's banned. We're trying to go through this a little quick. But the last thing that we want to talk about is impeachment. Obviously, Donald J. Trump was formally impeached by the House of Representatives on Wednesday for the second time. The charge is incitement of insurrection. He is now the first president in history to be impeached twice.
And he got the most bipartisan votes, like 10 Republicans.
10 Republicans
for it,
yeah.
Which is more than ever.
Yes. Most of the time, impeachment votes go down party lines.
Obvious.
This one didn't, which was cool. Of course, there hasn't been the Senate hearing yet, and there likely won't be until at least the 19th of January because the Senate is in recess right now.
I think something significant to remember about this impeachment is that Congress was just sworn in, or the House of Representatives was just sworn in at least a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So a lot of people are making their first ever House floor speech on this.
yeah.
So I was watching some of the speeches that Republicans were making. A lot of nonsense. A lot of it's over already, we're sorry, but don't punish us. It's
Unity.
yeah, it's really, really strange. They're not making sense. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's what you come to expect from people who like have spent all this time just lying to the American populace. Like,
yeah.
they're gonna continue to do it, no matter regardless of what the situation is.
Just turn around and get
Um,
some new lies.
Yeah. Uh, Surprisingly, though, people like the current majority leader, soon not to be the majority leader, Mitch McConnell, saying that he is not opposed to the idea of the impeachment and things like that. So, there's some interesting stuff happening right now on the national level of politics. Um, Basically, where impeachment is right now is it's in the Speaker's office, Nancy Pelosi, and she has to decide when is the best time to send the articles of impeachment to the Senate. Like I said, the Senate's not back in session until the 19th, so at the earliest it would be then, and that's not enough time for a trial to remove him before he leaves office, via the Constitution. But if they continue with the impeachment proceedings and continue with the trial, they can keep him from ever running for or holding another public office again. And they can also remove Secret Service and the president's stipend that presidents get after they are president. So we could basically just strip all of the taxpayer money that we're going to be paying for like his personal protection detail
Yeah.
for the rest of his life. I think that that's worth it. Brandon, I know you have a deferring opinion on this.
I just am also of the mind that it is just a week left of his presidency. Let it run out and let the Southern District of New York do what they're gonna do to him, because I do think there are easier cases to punish him on and things that will actually get him in jail. I am personally of the mind that if they punish him on impeachment, they'll kind of be like, "Oh, we already impeached him. We did it. Okay, it's over. We did it." Because isn't that pretty much what they did to George Bush after his term? I mean, he didn't get impeached, but they kind of just washed their hands and said we're going to move on and unify and work together. So it is scary to see that this might just be a moment for them to kind of pseudo unify. It'll be very easy for Republicans to wash their hands of Trump and say, "Oh, that was such a dark moment of our time here, and we're now going to work with Joe Biden to repair the soul of our nation." And personally, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think this is like a theater moment for them to show who they are and appeal to the base,
Yeah.
the anti-Trump base that is 70% of the country.
Yeah.
Both parties are doing that.
Yeah, and I think we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see how it goes on. We won't know much for some time, but
I mean, you're correct when you say that it's important for them to call Trump out, because they're right when they do call Trump out. We talked about that last time with Lindsey Graham. He's saying the right stuff.
yeah,
We just need them to follow through. And
and we'll see if they do.
impeachment is the first step.
You need 67 senators to convict.
Bro.
So that means 17 Republicans need to defect.
And also, like, do you really see Trump running for office again? Like 4 years from now?
Yes,
Like
yes, I do.
this
This
man who's decaying.
This is a point. This is
man who
actually a
still
point that I don't
chooses-
get from you.
He still chooses Rudy Giuliani as his lawyer. Do you think he has any idea
But
on
we're
how
talking-
to like make like his morning coffee? This guy is brain
He
dead.
doesn't need to. He can pay for somebody to do that for him. But the thing with him is that he likes the power. He likes the joy of it. He likes to be in control. He's gonna hate what happens over the next 4 years because Biden's just gonna dismantle everything he did. And
Yeah.
and He'll run again. I if this doesn't happen,
If he runs again, will
if
the
he doesn't
people-
get convicted, he will run again.
Will the people accept Trump in 4 years?
We
Like,
shall
I
see.
don't see it.
We shall see.
I see Trump either. Well, here's what I know will happen. Trump is going to start Trump TV, 100%. Trump TV is going to become the biggest embarrassment to United States culture ever,
Yeah.
and he's going to spiral out of control and become some dude like freaking Joe Arpaio who is freaking doing tasks for $5 on Fiverr.com. He's gonna become like that. Trump is gonna become that guy, or he's gonna become another god again. I don't see it happening. I see Trump spiraling, bottoming out, never reaching the heights that he reached because it's
Maybe.
over. It's over. He lost. He embarrassed
Okay,
himself.
but even if
He's not an alpha anymore. He lost that credibility. You know.
let me say this. Even if he himself does not run for office again, they should still convict him of this, because if you don't convict him of this, it could happen again.
Yeah.
There needs to be precedent setting with, and what I mean by that is the Congress needs to say unanimously in one voice, and I know this won't happen, the institution is stronger than one man.
Yeah.
The institution is sturdier than one man. And if they don't, we're going to have more problems. Be it him himself or someone like him, his son, fucking Ivanka, who knows, right?
100%.
Like it could be any, because he created a breed of himself.
Yeah. A bunch of clones.
Yeah. So like it's I think they have to do it, and I hope that they do it. But I don't have that much to say. I don't have that much left to say about you, Donald.
Yeah, like the thing about it to me is that like the insurrection at the Capitol is the end of a long period of incitement of insurrection, right?
Yeah.
So I hope it goes into what happened behind the scenes of him trying to talk to the Georgia Secretary of State, of him telling them to find votes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there's a lot worse, more direct violations of power, if that's okay to say, right?
Yes.
The violence is the end.
Yes.
And it's the moment, it's the event. But the build up to it is even more dark and mischievous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I still want him to be impeached. I just don't think it's going to be the end all be all of Trumpism.
Don the Peach.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, it won't be the end. But it's a solid statement by the establishment to say, no more of that. So I hope that happens, but we'll see. Let's get into the sandwich, where this is where Brandon and I this is the beginning of a very long argument that's going to occur, not in this show particularly, but over many shows.
Yeah, I'm not going to do too much
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, this is
Today.
the beginning of, like,
for now.
you and me being on different ends of the spectrum on something. You know what I mean?
Well, it's hard to disagree when it's either these guys or Donald Trump.
Yeah, but now this is what I'm saying. Now these guys are going to be in the White House, and the people that we're really going to be rooting for are going to be like Bernie Sanders on the Budget Committee, and AOC doing her stuff in Congress, and that like we're going to be rooting for the progressives now versus like the moderates who are in the White House.
Yeah, we need the progressives to push the moderates because the moderates.
And you and me are going to clash on that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah,
it's undeniable to say that the moderates are the ones with the power in the country.
yeah, I mean they're in the White.
Yeah, I just think that's a place that we should start at.
Yeah.
This is not a leftist administration.
No.
It's a moderate Democrat.
It's a moderate liberal
status quo agenda.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is still a
it's
positive
reflected
from the
in
Trump.
It's reflected in his cabinet picks, which is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about his cabinet picks, his White House staffers, and then his first 100 days, what he's talked about, what he wants to do. So for the cabinet, I'm just going to do the big four and then a couple other important picks. The big four being Secretary of State, Treasury Secretary, Defense Secretary, and Attorney General. For the Secretary of State, Biden has tapped Antony Blinken. He served as National Security Advisor and Deputy Secretary of State under President Barack Obama. He's known for his commitment to our European allies and prefers a multilateral approach to international affairs. Multilateral is the opposite of unilateral, right? So like we had unilateral attack at Vietnam,
Libya.
Yeah. So th-
Would you say
that's
that?
unilateral. That means one person doing or one country doing something. Multilateral means a coalition of countries doing something together.
Would you say that Obama administration had good foreign policy in certain areas?
Yes.
Sure.
So I would say the Iran nuclear deal, pretty good.
Yes. Okay.
I
good
would
point.
say his interactions with Putin, pretty good. His connection to the European leaders and the North American leaders, like the Mexican president, the Canadian president, pretty good.
I appreciated
However,
his hard stance with North Korea too.
yes. However, you cannot overlook the wars that he inherited that he then doubled down on and increased drone strikes. You can't overlook those things. You have to take the whole pie, right? And
Yes.
some of the pie is good, some of the pie is a little moldy.
And some of the pie is just how pie is made, right? Like
how the sausage is made.
how
yes.
that's how the pie is made. So we can't just be like, oh man, he worked for Obama. They did the drone strikes. I want someone who's never gonna do a drone strike again.
Unlikely, by the way.
It's not possible. And even the most socialist country will probably do a drone strike on the imperialists, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we need to accept some of these guys as they are. But it is important to remember where they
Yeah,
come
and
from.
he's okay. I mean, I haven't read too much about him, but I know him to be very experienced. Anthony Blinken, I'm talking about here. I know him to be very experienced. And I know that he was definitely someone that was leaned on in the Obama years for, write this op-ed and things like that.
Well,
So
the National Security Advisor isn't a partisan office. He's not
Secretary
like.
of State.
No, I'm saying when he worked
Oh.
under Obama as the National Security
Yeah, so-
Advisor, he wasn't doing anything partisan. He was like, here's the information, here you go.
Yeah. So well, when he was Deputy Secretary of State, he was doing some of that stuff. But as National Security Advisor, yeah, your job is basically just to brief the president
Yeah.
in the White House, like on current affairs and stuff. So
He supposedly has some connections to defense contractors, a company. So, of course, progressives are worried that he is going to capitulate to companies like Raytheon. And
well, yeah, you're not going to break the military-industrial complex under a Biden administration. I hate to tell you guys. He is an establishment Democrat. He's pro-military-industrial complex. He's,
back to brunch.
like, that's what it is. I mean, I get the the leftist like opinion on that, but
We want more, but this, like, Biden said we're going to return to normal. This is normal.
yes. Better that than fucking Pompeo, right? Like,
What did I say 3 minutes ago?
Exactly.
I said, at least we don't have to deal with Trump people anymore.
So let's move down the list. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen.
Yeah.
She served as the 15th chair on the Federal Reserve from 2014 to 2018, and as chairwoman to the White House Council of Economic Advisors to President Bill Clinton, William Jefferson Clinton. She has a doctorate in economics from Yale University, and she will be the first woman to serve in this role.
Is the Federal Reserve under the executive branch?
No, it is an
It's a
independent entity.
Is it an independent private company or
No,
is it?
no. It's a state agency.
It's like okay.
Well,
It's like an NGO, like a non-government organization. It's
no,
not,
but it is government. It's
Okay.
confusing. So
Yeah.
the Fed is independent because it has to be, because that's like the way that our economy like functions. We're the interest rates and things like that has to be handled aside from the government because that's like apolitical, and we want that to be apolitical.
Oh, like from
And-
Hamilton.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay, you're good.
Yeah, Hamilton founded the Fed. So yeah, just like think about Hamilton and you'll get the Fed. Okay.
Yeah, but there's some controversy around Janet Yellen too. Some basic cookie cutter controversies. I asked you before the podcast, did you think Hillary Clinton's speaking fees when she was speaking, huge controversy during the election, did you think that was a big deal or were you okay with it?
Yeah. So what I said to you was, I think that it is a normal thing for statesmen to do after they have like done their thing. So like, for instance, former presidents, Bill Clinton, which isn't a great example because, related to Hillary Clinton, but Bill Clinton often does speaking engagements where he'll go and he'll like, speak to a crowd.
Oh yeah,
whatever
they
crowd
go
it may be.
together. You get the
You
discount.
get the double whammy. You know, you get the bundle discount.
Oh my goodness.
The bundle discount. No, but I mean, Barack Obama does this stuff too. George W. Bush does this stuff.
Your point is that it's a normal thing
it-
that people do in politics. People who
Once
have,
they are post their like career, you know what I mean?
yeah,
They go and they do these speaking arrangements. I don't think it's like great. You know, I think the amount of money when we were talking about Clinton earlier, I said the amount of money that she got a little sus.
yes,
And I think that they probably shouldn't be paying that much just to like have somebody speak at their shit. But you know,
exactly. Like she's
so Janet Yellen has similar charges on her.
yes, way less money. Hillary Clinton was at like $150 million from speaking fees during like the 2015, 2016 like year. Janet Yellen was only at about 7 million. So we're looking at $500,000 from a performance. You know, she's getting like rapper money pretty much, right?
Yeah.
You only need to do like 10 or so speaking arrangements to get that. So it's not like she's like
And she's incredibly experienced. I mean, that list is probably longest out of the big four that I picked. Is like 15th chair on Federal Reserve, chairwoman of the White House Council
for 8 years.
You know, yeah, like
So she knows the levers.
yeah, that's a lot of experience. That's utility to like say students
Yeah.
or
sure.
up and coming, you know, federal, you know, exchange officers or whatever you call those people.
For sure. But just have to say there's always a worry when you have someone coming into the Treasury Department who seems to have friendly ties with banks and Wall Street. Because
Again, I'm sorry, progressives. The Biden administration is not the one to bring down Wall Street.
the Biden administration never said he was going to bring down Wall Street, so what am I so mad for?
You're mad because you want it, and I understand. But he was elected.
I
Like,
can't complain. I can't complain.
Not only was he elected, he has a fucking mandate.
Does he have a mandate?
He does. He got double majority in House and Senate. That's a mandate.
I thought mandate. Oh, I'm thinking like agenda.
No, he has a mandate, which means like he has the power.
Okay, keep reading these names.
Okay, let's keep reading the names. Defense Secretary is General Lloyd Austin. He is a veteran with 40 years of military service, the former U.S. Central Command commander. He will be the first black man to serve as the leader of the Pentagon.
Let's go. I ain't got nothing wrong to say with that one.
Yeah, we're just going to move on
Yep.
because that guy's
Next.
great. Next.
Nothing wrong with that one. Let's go, brother. Obviously, that's
Fucking-
a joke.
Word up.
Word up.
The Attorney General, the head of the Justice Department, will be Merrick Garland.
Bruh.
He served, or currently serving, sorry, on the Court of Appeals in the District of Columbia. In 2016, he was President Barack Obama's pick to replace Justice Scalia on the Supreme Court. We all remember that when the Republicans waited for 11 months, no, a full year to put another Supreme Court justice on the court because they didn't want Merrick Garland, and now he is the Attorney General of the United States.
You took a story out because I had a joke I was gonna make earlier that I'm gonna make now.
Make now.
You had a story about Jamie Harrison becoming the DNC chair.
Yeah, I took it out of the first bite because I knew we were going to spend forever on
Yeah, we would.
yeah.
But why do Democrats keep calling up the same people? Like, is there no better options for AG?
You think they all have the same friends?
I think they have about 10 friends. They got a short phone list, you know? Like, why is Merrick Garland still the first option? You know, I'm sure
I don't think he was the first option. They have short lists for all these things. They just like, they whittle it down and then
How
they
do you
choose
stay on the top of the short list for 4 years? What?
because he's a great attorney. He's a great juror.
See, but then I got to bring up my source. The only reason that Obama was like trying to get him in there is because he was a conservative judge who could appeal to Mitch McConnell, and he thought that would be a strategy to get them.
He's still liberal though. He's just more conservative than most liberal judges.
Oh, I forgot. Democrats, Republicans, not that different. Okay, we
They
can
really
move on.
aren't. I mean, when you look at the political spectrum, they're like
shit.
this. They're like right next to each other.
He's talking about it. Talk about it, Peter. Say it again.
They're like this. They're like right next to each other. Like if this is the political spectrum, right? Like if this fucking
If the table
is the political
and
spectrum,
I'm on the left,
like this is Democrats, this is Republicans.
that's not that far.
No.
Because like Medicare for all is gonna be like over here.
Well,
Democrats.
yeah, Medicare for all is like here,
Democrats
and then
is like right here.
Over here is like you know,
A purge.
yeah, it's like we're gonna kill the white nationalists. That's what over here is, and then over here is like we're gonna kill all the Jews and ethnic people.
All right. Well, I'm glad I'm on this side and you're on that side.
I'm not.
Please move on. Lots of jokes here.
But yeah, so
Visual
I wanted
jokes.
to talk about some other important picks. These aren't the big four, but I think they're cool. So for Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg has been tapped.
Bruh.
We know him, of course, as a primary challenger to the president-elect Biden. He's a moderate. He dropped out shortly before Super Tuesday. Some would say, with
Some
the
would say.
with the intention of getting a role like this. Also, some would say that because of him and other moderates dropping out, that Bernie Sanders ended up losing Super Tuesday.
Some would say.
Some would say.
I say that.
I know you say that.
You know, because what does Pete Buttigieg really know about transportation?
I literally, for the audience's sake, I made this joke directly before we started. I said, Brandon is just going to say, what does Pete Buttigieg know about cars anyway?
But really?
And that's what he said.
No, I said it even worse than I said it before. I said it the way I said it was so good just now. But really though.
Yeah, okay,
Like let's check the traffic rates. Let's check the potholes.
let's check the traffic rates in his old town that he was mayor of. Like let's check how frequent the accidents were.
Well, he wasn't focused on the roads, on the potholes. Did you know that Domino's had to give South Bend, Indiana, a $2,000 grant to fill their potholes? Look it up. Look it up. Research. Do your own research, bro. Look it up. Domino's, bro. That's capitalism.
It's just transportation department.
Yeah, but
okay?
look how ineffective
Plus,
government is. That capitalism had to come in and save the day. Domino's, $2,000.
I fucking
Pizza
knew it.
potholes.
I knew he was gonna do this.
Pizza
I should
potholes.
have taken Pete Buttigieg out of the show entirely.
Pizza. Pete.
Uh,
Oh, don't get me started on Pizza Gate. Pete.
Biden says that this will be a crucial role, apparently, likely because
Fuck out of here.
likely because of his plans regarding climate change and the Department of Transportation's role in safety standards.
Well, yeah, it is going to be an important time for e-vehicles.
For vehicles, dude, it's a really important time for vehicles.
Okay, serious mode.
Can we move on?
It is going to be an important time for like designing e-vehicles and making sure that
Yeah,
we
and
have-
certain safety standards. You want you want to make sure that there's no more gas guzzlers on the market. It's important. We're dealing with we're talking about an extinction level event that's possible here. So
Is Pete Buttigieg going to save us?
we'll see, won't we? I'm done talking about him.
I never want to talk about Pete Buttigieg ever again. Like, I hope that the transportation department is ineffective, so I never have to say his name again.
Also, Pete
Imagine.
Buttigieg will be the first openly gay cabinet secretary.
Who cares?
Just saying. We're talking about a cabinet of first.
Am I gonna
here.
get canceled for that? For saying that I don't care?
You're not gonna be canceled for that, I'm sure.
Okay.
Our Secretary of Education is going to be a guy called Miguel Cardona.
I kind of fuck with this guy.
Yeah, I fuck with this guy too. He was the state of Connecticut's commissioner for education. He is known for his firm stance on free community college, free four-year university students, for students whose families are making less than $125,000 a year, as per the Biden-Harris plan. So this is exactly what Biden and Harris were talking about.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
And so he's like on that hype train.
Also, I don't know the full details, but there was like a good article on CNN saying that he really raised the quality of schools around the state.
Mhm.
So even though the Department of Education, well, he's not the department head, or is he?
Yeah, he is Secretary of Education.
Okay, yeah. So he's not gonna have a lot of power directly, but he will be able to, use his voice.
And
To-
funnel certain things, and make the bureaucracy work in a certain way. So
And undo every disgusting thing that Betsy DeVos did.
yeah,
Like, she's really one of the worst Trumpies.
yeah. Well, not anymore.
Hello.
Resigned in protest.
Hello, somebody.
But yeah, so the last of the cabinet secretaries I wanted to talk about is the Department of Interior. The Department of Interior is a quite an overlooked department. It's
Mm.
very important though. The new secretary is going to be a woman named Deb Haaland. She served in the House of Reps for New Mexico's 1st District. She will be the first Native American cabinet member. The Department of Interior, a lot of people don't know this, so I put this in here. The Department of Interior is responsible for America's lands, its water, wildlife, energy resources, and as written on the website itself, it says that they are there to honor honor our nation's responsibilities to tribal nations and advocates for America's island communities. So basically, just taking care of our parks, our water supplies,
Federal land.
our federal land, and also ensuring that the tribal nations, which just got a whole bunch of new land. Jack Tarman was reminding me of this earlier today. A whole bunch of new land in Oklahoma, almost 3/4 of the state.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's a big story.
yeah, we talked about that a couple podcasts,
did
like
we?
episode 7
That-
or
dude,
8.
No, like episode 3. That was a while.
That was
ago.
early.
Like
maybe.
that's a huge story though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
forgot.
So yeah, it's cool. She's a Native American herself. I didn't go into the whole, which thing is she from and who did.
She's from the Laguna Pueblo in New Mexico.
Thank you, Jack Tarman, for doing more research than me on this person.
Yeah, but was the tribe like supportive of this? Like, were tribes supportive of this, or I'm pretty sure I did see like.
I can't imagine they wouldn't be. We're talking about the first Native American in an executive bureaucracy position. We're talking about like literally the Native American executive bureaucracy position.
Yeah.
Like they got to be hyped. I didn't do research in it, but I imagine they're hyped.
Yeah.
This is like literally the most diverse cabinet. So many firsts. So many firsts. Just roll your eyes at that.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever, dude. We can just move on. But I think it's exciting that there's this many firsts, this many new things happening. It's a paradigm shift. I really believe that.
First black man to call a drone strike.
That's not true either, though.
No, I know. I'm just fucking being an asshole. I'm sorry.
So I really quickly wanted to talk about the White House itself because I think this is really important. This is stuff that people forget. Okay.
We saw a White House that didn't know how to run itself. A
Yeah,
White
they
House
had
that-
no idea how to. And the whole time too, there were people flying out of those positions, flying into those positions.
I mean, lines of communications being broken.
You remember Scaramucci?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
I
was
still
it?
call a period of 10 days a Scaramucci. Like he was press secretary for 10 days.
And now he's still on CNN.
Yeah, which he should be. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's all right. Just like this guy.
But yeah, so the inner workings of a White House is super important, and it's not very covered outside of like the political landscape in Washington. It doesn't get a lot of national attention. But I wanted to go over a couple of their names and just talk about kind of what they'll be doing in the White House as a way to show you guys and maybe even garner some interest into the inner workings of the White House and the staffing jobs that exist in the White House. So the first person I want to talk about is Ron Klain, who will be serving as chief of staff to President Biden once they're in the White House. He is a former chief of staff for Vice President Al Gore, former chief of staff for Biden when he was vice president. Biden has called him a great friend. They've worked together for a really long time. I think it'll be the beginning of another beautiful relationship between the two of them.
Okay, dude. I don't know.
You don't know
about
this guy. You don't know, but what the chief of staff does is they organize the inner workings of the White House, and they tell certain aspects of the White House, certain departments of the White House what to do in order to get the political message across in the right way. Some of them lobby congressmen. Some of them just deal with the press. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Some of them deal with messaging. So for the messaging, you have communications director, Kate Bedingfield. Another thing that Biden promised when he was coming into office is that his press team would be entirely women. He came through with that. The communications director is a woman, Kate Bedingfield. She was communications director to Biden when he was vice president and deputy campaign manager for Biden in 2020. What she will be doing is writing speeches for the president. She will be drafting State of the Unions. She will be a slew of things. All of his remarks that he will do, she'll be in charge of that. She'll have a team of speechwriters with her, but she's in charge of that.
All women speechwriters.
Yes.
Nice.
The next thing is obviously the press secretary. It's going to be another woman named Jen Psaki. I don't know how to say that. I'm sorry, Jen. But she was President Obama's communications director. She's former spokesperson for the State Department, held various other positions in the White House communications department. basically
that
just a very
separate?
well experienced. What?
How's that separate from communications?
So she was communications director at the end of Obama's term, I think 2014 to 2016, but she was also like deputy communications director of speech writing. She was like a whole bunch of stuff. So they moved her around a lot. So that'll be cool. What she will be doing is like what we saw
Kaylee McEnany.
Kaylee McEnany doing recently. Sean Spicer. What was the one in between those two? What was her name? Everyone loved her a lot. You remember?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders. So that's the position. She'll be engaging directly with the press, answering their questions, giving statements to the press, that sort of thing.
No.
The National Security Advisor, we talked about a little bit about that earlier. He's going to be Jake Sullivan. He's former National Security Advisor to Biden when he was vice president, and he was deputy assistant to President Obama.
He also was an aide to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Slated for an role in her office.
But yeah. I think he hopped off the the Obama administration right when the campaign started and got onto the Hillary campaign, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's a Hillary guy.
Yeah. Well, he's an establishment Dem guy. So that should be interesting to see what he does. The National Security Advisor essentially just briefs the president on issues that are happening. They work with the team. And they work with the State Department, several other agencies, the CIA, certain things like that, to give the president as much information as possible when he has to make a decision about something involving national security. Very cool position. Something that I've thought about doing in like my mind's eye. And then this last thing, isn't a normal White House position, and in fact, it's new. But I really wanted to talk about it because I think it's very exciting. John Kerry, who's a former presidential candidate, he ran in 2004 against George W. Bush. He also ran against Barack Obama in 2008 in the primary, I'm pretty sure. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think he dropped out pretty early, though.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a very famous guy, John Kerry. He was Secretary of State under Obama. This position that he is now inhabiting is a brand new position that was created by the president-elect. It's called the Special Presidential Envoy for Climate, or the Climate Czar, as they're calling it for short. The goal is to have a point man on all things climate related in order to catch up with our climate goals after 4 years of the Trump progression, I'm super hyped on this. I think that this is super cool.
Yeah, I just think at minimum, as long as we have a special office/branch, dedicated to at least doing research and organizing.
Yeah.
That's
And
all I can
he'll be
ask
doing
for.
things like going to Europe and, lobbying European nations to join the Paris Climate Accord and like things like that too. So he'll be helping on the international level as well, not just as on the domestic level.
Yeah. Like we talked about at the beginning.
10 friends.
Some people no. Well, I don't really care about that. I think John Kerry is one of the better friends that they have. But if we're looking for moderate Democrats, but there are always going to be better answers, fuller answers, more radical answers, more correct answers. I can't ask for more than this to start off with.
Yeah.
Because what if John Kerry hires 100 people that are perfect for the job, right?
Yeah.
So in conclusion of this entire list, I am so glad that the Trump era is over and we are entering in a new diverse era of politics.
Yes. Very different time.
Yeah, it's always going to be exciting. There's stuff that's going to seem scary. We still have to see these guys and these gals, make it happen and actually make it happen. But it's a good start. I have to say it's a good start. I do.
Yeah, I think it really is. And speaking of starts, our last little bit is Biden's first 100 days, certain things that he has promised relating to that. And this is just a quick list. I'm not going to go too much into these because, it's stuff that he has been saying on the campaign
Well, he
trail.
did just release like a new stimulus offer, right?
Yeah, so that's the first thing is there is he just came out today with it. This is Thursday, January 14th. Today came out with this new plan, $1.9 trillion for a stimulus package, an aid package. $400 billion of that is going directly to COVID-19, like research and development and vaccine efforts and things like that. But most of it is obviously going to be going to you and I.
Would you
Um,
believe if I still had a problem with this bill?
No, I believe it. Yeah, Brandon, I believe everything now. Like I'm beyond the point of disbelief with
They took out state and local funding.
yeah.
The Democrat majority, House and Senate, took out. It's an offer. It's a proposal.
It'll
it's,
change.
It's a
too.
draft.
It'll change.
But I think that state and local funding, and I've been saying this since day one, I
Yeah.
think that's just as or more important than the unemployment
Yeah,
funding.
I didn't read too much into it. I just read like some of the base stuff. I didn't know that until you said that
Yeah,
just now.
I read it, and it was the first thing I noticed because it's been the main thing I've been focused on because
Yeah.
it's one of my talking points. How
Yeah.
are Republicans going to take away state and local funding, which will defund police, firefighters, schools? It's one of the most important things.
Yeah,
But-
so maybe we'll see it in the final draft. Who knows? I mean, they're obviously going to debate this stuff. It'll go to committee. It'll do a whole thing.
Yeah, it's Biden's plan, not the Congress's plan.
yeah.
So I said that a little wrong.
But yeah,
Yeah, so.
I agree with you. I think that definitely has to be a priority in that. But I'm excited. 1.9 trillion is way better than the 900 billion that we got a couple weeks ago.
Well, there's new
Um,
new stuff in there. Like
yeah.
a second round of stimulus checks.
Yeah, so that's his first promise, is that will happen in his first 100 days. I imagine a lot sooner than his first 100 days. That'll probably happen like
yeah.
first 2 weeks or so.
But there's a second round of stimulus in there too.
yeah,
$1,400 checks.
stimulus
to-
checks, unemployment assistance, another what do they call that?
PPP.
Well, yeah, PPP,
The
but
PP.
no, when eviction moratoriums,
Yes.
all that stuff is in there. The next thing is that he promised 100 million Americans will be vaccinated in his first 100 days. That's an ambitious goal. I do not see that happening, but I think it's a good goal. Healthcare, obviously, Biden care or whatever the fuck. He's going to try to get that
Whatever
done.
it turns into.
He's going to raise corporate taxes and taxes on wealthy Americans. That's hype.
I
There
need
you go,
them-
progressives.
I need them to directly revoke the Trump tax cuts.
Yeah. He's talking about student loan debt relief up to $10,000. That's really good for the future of the economy. Yeah. So I mean, these are good goals. Some of them are a little bit further than I would think. Gentlemen, how much of this will get done?
That's Jack.
So I think a lot of this stuff can get done day one, especially reverting a lot of Trump's executive actions. That can get done within the first couple weeks. The stimulus package is going to take a little while, not necessarily to get started, but it's going to take a while to come to full force. And I think the same thing with the education as well, and getting ready for free community colleges and all that.
Have you seen that there are even some Democrats who are against more stimulus checks? Yes, sir.
I believe that. Yeah. Yeah.
I believe it, but I don't think that's going to deter President Biden and the rest of the country from doing what needs to be done, which is
I think
cure the
that
country of one of the worst viruses we've seen.
Say that again.
oh my God.
Is that your Biden glasses, dude?
These are my President Biden glasses.
They're the same, Joe.
They're the same, Joe. If you guys have not seen that video, go look it up.
Dude.
Is that the one about Obama and like he's getting on his wife's Instagram live or something?
No, he's like testing different glasses.
It
Yeah,
was
no,
a
but that-
promo done by the White House administration, I think, maybe during one of the State of the Unions. I can't remember, but it was basically a
was for-
montage of Obama and Biden doing a bunch of stuff together around the White House, like jogging around. And
Oh yeah, they went for a jog.
yeah, they got a burger together too at a DC burger joint.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things, but it's an entertaining video.
Yeah, no, but at one point Biden is like sitting in his office in the White House, and he's got like I'm not even joking, like hundreds of pairs of aviator glasses on the table, and he's like cleaning them, and he's like, what do you think? I wish I had my other pair. He's like, what do you think? What do you think, Brock? Is these ones? And he takes them off, and he's like, or these ones? And then Barry gets up and he says, Joe, they're the same. But yeah, no, I don't know how much of it'll get done.
Have you heard the new main Republican talking point that they're sticking? The
No.
new Republican talking point?
Enlighten me.
Bernie Sanders and Biden, they want to give health care to the illegal immigrants. How
Oh.
dare they?
Oh no. Whatever will we do when the illegal immigrants get health care?
Oh my
Bruh.
goodness, that man's throwing up blood, and he needs to go to the ER. That's
He's an illegal immigrant. Can't
we can't
do
serve him.
yeah, can't serve him.
That guy lives
They're
here.
humans.
That guy lives here.
They're humans. They work.
That guy like is my neighbor.
They contribute to the economy.
What's up, neighbor?
Yeah.
What's up, neighbor?
I don't know if we have a lot of non-California viewers, but
We got some
immigration
Canada boys.
immigration needs to be one of our main priorities too. Like, I don't know if that's gonna happen over these next 4 years, but before 2030, I really do see it as a main priority. Just straightening out that system, making it flow, because we can't just let these people like that are our neighbors. Like, I'll never forget the statistic I heard at a seminar at Miracosta. In a day in Oceanside, 100 people were deported in a day.
100?
Yes, in our city. So it's like this is our home, and like these things affect us on a personal level. And maybe Biden won't be able to answer that on a national level, but like that's one of my main priorities
Definitely.
going forward. So
Yeah, fixing that system. Well,
that was a lot of politics, a lot of info.
yeah, that was a lot of names. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this is for the record. Like this is for the record. This is
Yeah.
before. Like, what if someone goes on this list, like ruins their like legacy, like next week? Like this is
Yeah, well, they a lot. So the cabinet secretaries, they have to be appointed, they have been appointed. They have to be confirmed by the Senate. So some of these guys may not be confirmed. You never know. But yeah, I'm not too worried about all that. You know, we'll dive into all of that in another show. For this last show, I just want to wrap it up with the milk.
milk it.
The milk it. So this first story, you know, I just thought this was kind of cute. There was like a mudslide a couple of years ago, and there was a cat in a house that was missing and then presumed dead.
Damn.
3 years. 3 years ago.
Damn.
It's a huge bummer.
Yeah, bye.
You know, you don't want to see the cats go.
No, you don't. Hate to see it.
You hate to see it, but it has resurfaced and was given back to its owner.
Given back.
It's the same cat. 3 years. What did it do for 3 years?
I've been
wanna know.
holding on
I would
to
watch
it.
that movie. I would watch that the Adventures of the Presumed Dead Cat. I just thought that was kind of cute.
Oh,
Comedy.
no, I got something on topic with that actually. I've got a personal story.
What's that?
So I was in bed with my doggy, Max. Some of you may
Maxwell?
know him. Some may know him. Instagram celebrity, Maximilian. He was in my bed. We were cuddling together, and I went to take a nap, and we were in bed together. And later, my mom came home, and she came in my room, and she said, "Hey, where's Max?" I said, "I don't know. I think he's in my bed." And then Max was gone, and Max was not in the house. And 2.5 hours passed. Max had not been seen. Max disappeared.
Suspense is really building here.
Yeah, it was really weird because he was in my bed and I didn't leave the house. And when I woke up, Max was gone, and the only person that had gone in and out was my mom, who had come inside. And my dog's not gonna run through my mom to leave the house. That's not what dogs do. So
Where was he?
no clue. Oh well, we opened the front door and he was outside the front door.
So you just teleported out of there?
So I'd have no idea what happened to my dog.
I think he teleported out of there.
I think he might have fallen off the terrace. I don't know. No, I don't know. That's the only thing. He's not gonna run under my mom to get outside. I didn't take him outside. I was asleep in bed for those 2.5 hours.
Good thing he's such a small boy, so little weight, you know. Not
I-
gonna hurt himself.
I just don't know where he went.
Yeah.
I wonder where he was. That's why I brought it up, because I wonder where my dog was.
Yeah.
If he was if he was outside and he was never in my bed or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
what if like he just did like a whole Disney movie and he's gonna come back
Yeah, he just came back and he was there.
just silent, you know, dogs. He's not gonna explain where he was, so
No.
he's just like, "Where were you?" It's
Yeah,
like I
that's
don't
good.
even get to figure out the plot of the Disney movie.
No, you don't. There's no answer.
It's not
you just,
right.
Yeah, you just don't know now.
He's just back.
Yeah.
How did you leave? I don't know.
But yeah, you know, missing cats, missing dogs.
Hey, why'd you delete your story? I was so interested in your next story. I was so interested.
No, you weren't, dude. You were talking shit even before the show started about this next story.
I was so interested.
Okay, so I was gonna talk about. I started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It's really good.
Wrong.
Wrong.
I don't know if we have a gaming audience yet.
It's pretty good. I would recommend playing it. It's very good story, very good graphics. The gameplay's alright. It's like not super good, but it's alright. I've been enjoying it. It's a great thing. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is this show that's coming out tomorrow, which will be probably a couple days after. It'll be a couple days before when you guys actually watch this.
What?
But it's very confusing. But Marvel's new TV show is premiering tomorrow, WandaVision, and I'm super stoked. Are you super stoked?
I haven't seen any Marvel movie since like Iron Man 2.
So he's not stoked, but I'm stoked.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
But what is WandaVision? Who is Wanda?
So Wanda is
What can
Wanda
she see?
Maximoff. She is known as Scarlet Witch. That's her like superhero name. She does like kind of arcane magic-y shit. And Vision is another character entirely, and he's actually an android.
It's Wanda. Oh,
WandaVision.
shit. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an android, and he was made by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, and also like kind of Ultron, and also kind of Thor. But we don't have to worry about all that. Essentially, it's a love story, and they're turning it into like a sitcom, but like set in the Marvel universe. It's very confusing, and I'm super excited to break it all down. And I'll probably talk about it more on this show. But that wraps up my milk.
Yeah,
dude.
I've been super distracted since you mentioned like an all-woman communications branch. Like,
Yeah.
are they gonna be like hot? Like, are they gonna have like a hot communications branch? Like a.
And thank you to everyone at home.
Cause I'll listen. I will be in the audience. They need to have at least like one like hot one, because they got to be able to be like.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies,
shut the fuck up.
How else do you declare war?
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back next week with another show. We'll be under a different administration. We'll be talking about a very different thing, very different time. We love you. We appreciate you. I'd like to thank Jack Tarman, Jack Tunney, Brandon Blackman, David Whitehead, and I'd like to thank you, the viewer. Come back and give us another try for episode 13. See you guys soon.
Can we skip episode 14?